Hello, I hope you all are doing so well. I wanted to just mention a couple of things to those of you who resonate with the things that I say here on this channel. Um, the last 2 days or so have been a bit, feels like choppy waters, as if it almost looks to me like there's been a shipwreck. Like all of the cargo that would have been on this ship is now strewn in the water, right? And everything's kind of bobbing and undulating. And it's a bit like having to assess the wreckage and to figure out what the next steps are going to be. Although not necessarily feeling like we're in crisis mode. So it's a strange energy. And I apologize for the traffic outside. I had to come to my office today. It's been a bit of an adjustment. We got a dog too who is really probably too big for our house, and it's created a bit of all of my stuff is recorded and it requires quiet, and I don't have quiet anymore, so I'm having to also navigate this change in our life, which is good. It's bringing organization and structure, which I've been asking for a very long time and haven't been able to quite figure out how to do it. So even though it's bringing these challenges, it's also forcing me to make some moves and make some changes that I have been desiring for a very long time. But on my way here, I started thinking about not everything that's going on, but in a way, how we're getting so many messages right now. When I think in my kind of, okay, where am I going to go? I have 2 weeks off now because of where we live. And I really don't know. I know it's different everywhere. But my kids are going to be off for the next 2 weeks from school. So we have a vacation, essentially. And so I'm kind of like, okay, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do here? Although at the same time, when I did hear school was canceled, I was very happy because I have been waiting, feeling like I've been needing time to catch up. In fact, so on my way here, I was remembering how I was telling my daughter this just last week. There was a TV show called Amazing Stories, and one of the episodes was where this woman found a necklace buried in a box in her backyard. And so she put it on and she was wearing it. She was going about her day. And what happened was when she said the word shut up, the whole world stopped. Like everything froze. People, machines, whatever, everything just went silent. And I remember thinking how awesome that would be to have that necklace and to be able to control the world around me so that I could do whatever I needed to do and then start life up again. And I was telling my daughter this story because I felt like time has just been getting away from me. I'm so behind, and now we have this dog, and it's even creating even more of a kind of like, how do I get to what I need to do? And so as I was driving here, I realized, oh my God, like I was telling her, I wanted more time. I needed time. How can I stop time so I can catch up? And now I've been given this gift of these 2 weeks where essentially I don't have to worry about what time we wake up. I don't have to drive anyone anywhere. And so my point in saying all this is that we do create our own reality. And I don't mean this in a glib way of, oh, we asked for this and now we have, whatever. We have to deal with this, right? This pandemic or whatever it is kind of thing. But I mean that based on the outer external circumstances that we are being exposed to or that are being impressed into our reality, based on our internal feeling, guidance, wants, and needs, we co-create with that external experience. So make this time what you want it to be for you. For me, I was looking for a break. I needed time. I need time to catch up on my work. I need time to catch up on lots of things in my life right now. And so for me, I'm getting super emotional. I am very, very grateful to have this time. My daughter has been talking about this wall of clothes that have been building up in her closet, and how she wants to start washing them, cleaning them up, separating them out. What is she going to donate? What is she going to sell? All this kind of stuff. And so she started the other day of her own accord, she's a teenager. I wouldn't have expected that, but she just started sorting, washing, piling things up. So she's taking this time to organize her bedroom and her life as well. My son was on spring break a week ago. He went back to school, but now he's taking this opportunity to extend spring break for himself. Not sure he's thrilled that we're all home with him, but that's what he's focusing on. So we are each using this in the way that suits us. And it's really wonderful not to have this restriction on how we're going to experience these next 2 weeks, right? There's no outside. So for my daughter, school for her is very controlling. She finds it to be somewhat of a prison. She doesn't like going. She doesn't like having to be subjected to these ideas that she thinks are, a lot of them are basically telling you how to think, what to think, this kind of thing, right? She finds it very, it's just very controlling for her. And so for her not to have that right now is very freeing. And like I said, it just feels like a big break for all of us. So, I always speak about this, about creating our internal atmosphere that we create. And that's what I mean by we create our experience. It's not necessarily the things in our outer world, but it's how we respond and how we feel and how we choose to use that and redefine it for ourselves. The annoying thing is that, at this time when we do actually need supplies like toilet paper or popcorn kernels, which is what I went out to find yesterday, the annoying thing is that, it's not there, and it can be unsettling in some ways, but also at the same time, it's like I'm not that overly concerned. I know that if I really wanted it, I could go find it somewhere. But I did find myself having to think about, and really my response has been to, it's not even that I'm trying, it's just that I'm being very conscious about, okay, how am I responding when I see lines of people, like I'm not allowing myself to get pulled in, and it's not even in an arrogant way, like, oh, I'm not getting attached to that, I'm not going to join in with that craziness. It's not that. It's not from an ego place. It's more of the fact that, especially over these last few weeks, I have come to understand my nervous system and the importance of not creating extra fear, strife, anxiety for my own self, so that I can keep this system at this kind of, it's about homeostasis, right? This balance and this stability. It's not about, am I a spiritual being? Therefore, I'm not reacting. Look at me. Look at how wonderful I am. I'm not joining into the craziness. It's not about that for myself. For me, lately, it's been about actually my biological body, my biological functions, and wanting to maintain this peace and serenity for my own self, because I can definitely feel the difference since I have discovered that I have this PTSD, which has been triggering me emotionally over and over, and not even recognizing that that's what was happening for me. Since I have had this awareness, and I've been very, very conscious of what I am experiencing on let's say a chemical response level, in terms of that automatic nervous system response, my life has shifted dramatically. And this is where I'm coming from. It's not from a place of, I must maintain alignment to be a good light being and be in a good spiritual place. It's about, this is actually what feels good and calming to me. And when I feel good and calm, my response to the outside world is not forced, and it's not about ego. It's just what is and what I desire for my own human body. So it's a weird shift, but it's been incredibly, like, I don't have to force things in a way where I almost felt like I had to force before. Like, I'm supposed to be calm, I'm supposed to be still, I'm supposed to be in alignment, I'm not quite feeling it, yet everyone's saying this is the way we're supposed to respond as a responsible spiritual being, kind of thing. So it's a big shift for myself. And so really my message, is that take this time and make it what you need it to be. And it will be that for you. I know a lot of people, the spiritual community is really confusing, I have to say, because every light worker, everyone who channels, everyone who delivers messages is delivering a different message. They're saying, oh, I talked to my guides, or my guides brought me this message, or my teams are telling me this and this and that. Across the board, it is a different message for everyone. So, and as far as that is concerned, I say we do create our own realities in that sense as well. And I do think a lot of people who think they are channeling beneficial energy are not. I think there are a lot of energies out there that have different agendas that have nothing to do with what it means to be a human here on this planet. And there's a reason that we incarnated into human form here at this time. And I, some people will say, well, to me, common sense and critical thinking apply even more. I always say, whoever controls the mind, and I heard this as well, it's like controls the mind, body, and spirit. And I do find that to be true. So we can't throw out our critical thinking under the guise of, I'm going to be spiritual and I'm going to come from this heart-centered place. Because oftentimes when we say we're just going to come from a heart-centered place of love and empowerment and all of this stuff, we still have other energies in other places of our form and of our light body that are, let's say, infiltrating or impressing into us. So I see a lot of spiritual individuals giving all of these messages, which are all conflicting with each other. And at the other end of it, there are individuals who are over the top happy and excited, as if we're supposed to be in love and light. Let's take this opportunity and we can be wherever. Kind of the same message I'm saying as well, right? Like, create it for you what you need it to be. And yet it's this other extreme where it's almost like if you're not happy and you're not in a place of joy and excitement and love, then you're not totally tapping into what it means to be a light being. And I disagree with that message also, because at this time, a lot of us are really struggling with our internal emotions. And I'm actually starting to get incredibly emotional about this, because what is happening right now, we have to remember that there is a ton of light that is coming in. And what that is causing, it's pulling up the roots of the trauma that have been encoded and instilled into our fields. So a lot of us right now are feeling this deep grief and this deep emotion. And there's a lot of confusion, because it's like, okay, but I should be, because I am a light being and I'm doing this work, like I should be centered and I should be this way or I should be that way, or like, what is my response to this supposed to be? And this is where I say, make it for yourself what it needs to be. If you are feeling like you need to go into healing, deep self-care, do that for yourself, and don't worry about what your response on a global scale is supposed to be. We don't need to put that on ourselves, and we're not supposed to be putting that on ourselves. I am finding for myself, it is kind of a testing period for me. Like, how am I going to respond, right? Like I was saying about things not being available at the store. So I went to a different store in search of popcorn kernels, and it took me a while to find it because the shelf there was also empty. But when I asked, there were actually 2 bottles of popcorn sitting right there. And I just kind of stood back and looked at it, and the guy said, yeah, this is the most we've ever sold. And, it was like, okay, I don't want to get into this whole conversation, right, about what is so obvious. But I did kind of stand there and I said, well, it is on sale too. Like, let me take I grabbed the one and then I kind of stood there like, should I take this other one? Is it a good price? What's the price at the other store? And I thought, this is crazy. I never buy 2 jars of popcorn. One lasts me a very long time. And I just happened to be out and I just happened to think, wow, I'm going to be home. Maybe we'll watch some movies, right? And popcorn goes with that. So, but it was interesting because I found myself standing there contemplating this, like, what is the right move? Like, and not that I was thinking, should I be a good person and save this for someone else? But it really was a thought process of myself of sometimes I will overstock or overbuy things. And I just found myself kind of thinking, no, I don't need it. It was really my thought, But afterwards, of course, I was contemplating, like, why did I do that? Was it because of this whole wave of whatever? And the point is that doesn't really even matter. I don't need to overanalyze that. For me, I didn't need 2 jars of popcorn kernels. I never buy 2 jars of popcorn kernels. And even if I do, when I see something that's on sale and I grab 2 of them, the problem with that then is that I forget that it's there. It gets put in the back of my pantry, and then I find out later I now have expired products that I have to throw out, kind of thing. So for me, right, like, for some people, stocking up may be good, and they may be able to keep track of that, and that may be the way that is appropriate for them. For me, it's not. I tend to go shopping quite a few times during the week because, I don't know, maybe I don't plan well enough, but because I think I also have so much going on in my head, in my mind, and I have so much that I feel I'm responsible for and that is on my plate right now. Thinking that far ahead so far, even when I've tried to make my schedule for dinners and things like this, it just hasn't quite worked out. Like, schedules will change unknowingly where it's like, okay, I don't actually have time to make dinner. We've got to figure something else out. And so things really get thrown off. So for me right now, it's just not something that works for me. And so this is what I'm saying, right? About your little bubble, your little atmosphere. What is true for you? What works for you? What is appropriate for your reality? And not to change because there is all of this, it's a bombardment of information right now. And it just got so quiet with the traffic too. So this quietness, and I know people say, I've been watching when I look at some of these videos and people say this, everyone is so proud that they don't listen to the media or watch the media, right? And yet we're all so tapped into the spiritual media. We're all so worried about, and I'm looking at it too, right? Like, oh, when is so-and-so going to come out with their next Ascension newsletter? When is so-and-so going to release this message? Like, what's really going on here? And I'm finding it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And if you look back over history over the last few years about these messages that people put out, it's the same messages over and over and over again. And my reality has not shifted based on the level of plasma that's coming in or the Schumann resonance or whatever the Arcturian Council has been saying, right? My reality is still my reality here in my day-to-day life. What is shifting for me as I have become more aware of what I keep saying, right? This process that goes on in my brain, the automatic programs that I've had running in my own body, as I've become more and more attuned to what's happening within me, this is when I've been seeing my own reality shift because my internal body, my calmness at an actual biological level has changed. And that has changed how I respond to the outside world. And that also has allowed me to become more still and more quiet, to hear my own intuition, my own guidance, my own wisdom come through. So that is really, again, the message that I wanted to kind of bring through and express, that regardless of what is going on in the world, because things like this are going to happen and we can't be prepared for it because we don't know. Like, that's the thing about this, is it's so unknown. It's unprecedented in some ways. And I'm not going to go into all of that, but you can feel that, you know that, right? It's like, well, at this scale, we've never kind of been told to stay home in this way, at least where I live, right, in the country that I'm in the state I am in the county that I am in. This is what's happening here. And that's the thing to look at too, right? Like, we're all living in different countries and different places, and the government is addressing it differently in all of these areas. And so therefore, by default, we're all going to have a different experience and response around it. So again, you have to look at your own little world, your own little atmosphere. And this isn't about your own self as in being selfish. This is your own reality. And based on where you live and the people that you are in contact with and the communities that you are connected to, your response is going to be different. And to understand it from that perspective, that no matter who is saying what on what channel, or who they're channeling or what they're channeling, it all comes back to here for you, for yourself. So I'm going to end this here. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for connecting with me. We'll talk soon. Take good care.